I'd like to welcome everyone in. First of all, good morning, and also good afternoon to anyone chiming uh, lunchtime's over with. My name is Jason Roberts. I'm the marketing manager here at Forum Infotech. For those of you all who don't know, Forum Infotech is a managed service provider that specializes in private cloud workspace and solutions, and also cybersecurity. Additionally, Forum Infotech is a Microsoft Silver partner, and which is why we are so excited today to be able to present to you one of Microsoft's most robust collaborative tools, Microsoft Teams. Just to give you a quick background, Microsoft Teams is a unified communication and collaborative platform that combines persistent workplace chat, video, meetings, file storage, application integrations, and a whole lot more. Microsoft Teams, as of today, has over 44 million active users. It uses AI to artificially remove background noise, and it's just really taking advantage of this current climate that we're living in, where collaborative tools are more important than ever before. So why Microsoft Teams? Why this meeting? People don't know that Microsoft Teams is a developmental platform built on apps and integrations. It's part of your Office 365, excuse me, your Microsoft 365 groups, and has the same enterprise level security, compliance, and manageability that all your other components of Microsoft 365 gives you. It's part of your 365 suite again, and so you already have it if you're already subscribing to it. So why not take advantage of it? Skype for Business is now fully integrated in the Teams as well as Outlook, and so these are two business functions and features that people are using already. So based on that, we are so proud to have two of our own. I'd like to introduce to you Ricardo, our Director of Technology here at Forum Infotech, and Micah to present to us today the ins and outs of Microsoft Teams. So with no further ado, I'd like to hand this over to Ricardo. Oh,
Hello,
actually,
everyone.
yeah.
How's everybody doing today?
Yes, Ricardo. Before you get started, and I apologize, I just did want to cover a few housekeeping duties. The first one is that you are all muted. I know that some people have been chiming in on the chat because they're concerned about background noise. Probably me more than anyone, because I have 4 children and they're animals. But don't worry, you're all muted, so don't worry about any background noise. Having that said, this is a Q&A platform. And so if you look at the bottom of your interface, you'll see that there is a place where you can post your questions. Now, we're going to take you through the entire presentation and open it up to questions and answers at the end. However, if you have a question in the interim, don't hesitate to post it, and we'll answer them in the order that we receive them. I sound like the people on the AT&T hotline. And then lastly, and probably one of the more important ones is I'm glad that everybody's joining in. There's no need for you to activate your video function on this platform. In fact, the less video that you guys use, the more fluid this will go, particularly through our demo portion, because we don't want to use up any additional bandwidth if we don't have to. So that's it for housekeeping. Again, I appreciate it. And I apologize, Ricardo, the floor is yours.
No problem, Jason. Very excited to be here. Mike and I presenting Microsoft Teams. As a remote company, we've been using these tools for collaboration for a long time. As many of you know, our company went completely remote in 2016, the end of 2015 actually, beginning of 2016, and we've been remote ever since. So tools like Microsoft Teams were key for us to keep our productivity and be able to talk to each other on a daily basis.
That's fantastic. Ricardo, actually, I think a great way to get this webinar started would be for you to tell us how can we start our days using Teams?
Absolutely, Jason. So let me share my screen with you. I think you might need to enable my sharing here so I can show my screen.
And you should be fine. Try it now.
There we go. All right, so I'm hoping that everybody can see my screen now.
Yes.
And the way that I start my day with Teams, as soon as I open Teams and I get this screen right here, is to look at my activity feed. The activity feed will tell me anything that I might have missed while I wasn't here. So I can see what happened with the teams that I'm a part of, messages, calls that I've missed over here. But I also can come over here into the filters and I can select specific things. For example, I want to see messages that were destined to me. Like, for example, Micah here tagged me in a message asking if we get that ticket done. And I can just come over here real quick and reply to Micah, yes, this was completed yesterday, and get it fluid that way. This is the first part of my day. So in a panel, I have everything that I might have missed or everything that has happened since I last checked. Then I jump into my Teams feed, and here is where I can see everything that I'm a part of. All the teams that I have, I'm part of the 4 teams right here that you see on my screen. And inside these teams, we have channels. And think of these channels as places where you can have focused conversations about something. So even though I'm a part of a big team right here on TeamFit, if I go to the documentation channel, I know that the conversations that I'll have inside this channel will be just about documentation. So it's very simple for me and my peers to come over here, focus in talks about a specific subject. Another
That's
thing that we do here that is great is that for each one of the channels that we have, we can enrich those channels with applications. So, for example, as you see here, I have under the service desk side, which is where our service desk people come to talk, I have a channel here for Amazon Web Services notifications. So what I can do here is to connect this channel to an application. Let's say I want to configure an RSS feed for Amazon. And I can say here, this is an AWS feed. And I'm not sure if I have, yep, there we go. This is the address for the feed. And I say that I want it refreshed every 30 minutes or so. I hit save. And now in this channel, everything that happens new from the Amazon Web Services, I now have it at my fingertips and I can click on these articles and read what's about.
that is awesome. That's very good. In a work from home environment, which a lot of us have been forced into, if you weren't already a virtual company, it's an amazing way to stay organized. I see that you have several different uh, groups or teams in your section. How do you go about creating a team?
That's a great question. And it's very easy. As a matter of fact, there is a project that we're going to start soon, and I can create a channel to show you how that is done. So right here at the bottom, I have an option to create a team, right? It's as simple as clicking here to create a team. I have some options here. I'm going to build a team from scratch. It's a private team, which means that people will need my permission to be able to join. And I'm going to give this team a name. And I'm going to call it Project Fit. And as simple as that, my team is done. And the next screen is going to ask me who I want to add here into this project. So I'm going to add the members of my team. So I'm going to add Micah here. I'm going to add you, Jason. I'm going to add our CEO, Biren. And I am going to add one person that we're going to collaborate from Amazon, for example. And you see that when I put an email here that is not a part of my organization, it shows me that I can add this person as a guest. So the great thing is that I can collaborate with people from the outside of my organization without them being a part of my Office 365 account. So I just click add. All my members are added. And now there we go. I have my brand new team right here.
That's very impressive. So Teams is not just an internal collaborative tool, but you can also include external partners as well. Are there any additional benefits though, however, to adding external partners?
Yes, there is. So when you have somebody from the outside in the organization, outside of the organization, let's say that you want to collaborate on a project together, you have multiple vendors that are working on something and they want to come in. I'm actually going to have Micah talk a little bit about this, but you might want to be able to have a space where you can safely collaborate and share files and have everything in one place where you can go to.
All right, and I'll go ahead and take over from there. So as you can see, I've already, on my side, recognized I've been added to the project, and I'm going to go ahead and very simply, we have a project plan that we utilize that I can drag and drop and upload directly in. Here it goes, it's loading now. And it should be coming up on Ricardo's end. There it is, work plan. So I'm already in the work plan. He can as well collaborate and load it up. And even people outside of the organization that are in the team can work in this, and we can update our dates here together in the work plan view. So it should be showing, there we go. So there's our boxes, and you can see as we're working together in a document what's going on here.
This is very impressive. And we're looking at an Excel spreadsheet. So you can already see how Teams incorporates a lot of 365 products into one space. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Micah, for you, my question is, what if there is a file that contains sensitive material that may be part of this project, but you only want to share it with Ricardo, for example? How can that be done?
So Jason, that's a really good question, because when we share documents in Teams, it actually is shared across all people on that team. So if we want to do, let's say, some confidential documentation, we can go directly back to the chat. And if Ricardo can go to his chat with me, I'll go ahead and demonstrate when I share a document with him in that regards. And it's loading right now, so I just drag it and drop it on my end. And it should be coming up. There we go, confidential. Now Ricardo can show that as only being accessible to him.
That's fantastic. Again, remote working brings up a lot of challenges and it's doing collaborative work. And without that office experience, being able to share files on the fly, remotely, and as a team is just incredible. This is such a great feature. Working within a team or individual groups, let's say that there are some questions that are raised and require discussion. Is there a way to generate a meeting, maybe on the fly?
Absolutely, Jason. So right there on the left side, I have this calendar feature over here, and you can see that it syncs with my Outlook. I was in a meeting here at this time, and I have a meeting already scheduled for the project fit discussion. But if I wanted to schedule a new meeting, it's as simple as going right here on the top to click in a new meeting request, and I would fill this in as I would do in Outlook. Everything is synced. So when you create a meeting here, it's going to show up in your Outlook test. I would just add the title, the attendees, and I would save. Or I could start a meeting right now. This one is already scheduled, and you see that I have a join button here. So I'm going to right now join this meeting. And you can see that right now, as I join, I'm brought to this screen before I join where I can change some options. So right now I'm already talking to you on a webinar. So I'm going to mute myself over here. I'm going to show my camera because we like to make things personal here. And I can click in join now. And now I'm going to be brought to the meeting with everyone. And while I wait for people to connect, I have some options here that I can go over. I have the controls here to turn my camera on and off. I have the unmute button or mute myself. I could share live in this meeting. I could share my whole desktop screen. I could share a specific window, or I could even share a PowerPoint presentation, or I could even open a whiteboard in case I want to write something real time. Here in the ellipsis, I also have an option here. As you can see, I'm at home, and sometimes, as you correctly stated, you have kids running in the background. So what I do in this case, I can go here into background effects, and I can blur my background.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And you can see that right now, there will be no more distractions here right on the back. My kids will be running around, but it's going to be blurred. I also have the option here to record this meeting. And when I record a meeting, it's going to be saved into Microsoft Stream. And I can revisit those meetings later. So if I go here to Microsoft Stream, we have a meeting that was saved. I can play this meeting anytime I want, right? Now, one cool thing that you can do here is you can enable closed captions for your meeting. So let's say you're watching that meeting and there's a certain part that you want to get to. Let's say this meeting here, it's event services training. So I want to look on a part that is talking about Ungerbach. Well, there's, let me see, preparations. Oop. And now I have here the results. I can jump directly to this point in time. So if there is a mention of something that I need to do or somebody that says my name or a part of the meeting that I need to pay attention to, I can just jump straight in by using the closed caption feature and searching for it to get me to that point of the meeting at that point in time.
That is an amazing tool. And think about what we're discussing here. We're talking about a collaborative tool that already incorporates a lot of the things that you're using every day. Just in this presentation, I've seen Excel, I've seen Word, I've seen Outlook, and now we've seen Microsoft Stream, all used within one central place. You can't think of a better way for an office to stay connected using all their tools. And again, this is part of Microsoft 365 already. This is just amazing.
It is. And like I said before, you can even connect other things that are not part of the Microsoft Office suite. In here, in a particular channel, I could come over here just like I added the Amazon notifications. I can click the plus sign, and you have an app store with a lot of different options of things that you can put on the tab in there, including, for example, Power BI, you have Trello, you have other tools that I can add here. For example, right now during this outbreak, I want to keep my team updated with some metrics about COVID-19. And the actual health department provided something to Microsoft Power BI where I can just add here and it's going to pull data and I can see that real time too. So you can enrich your channels with an array of applications that are available from the Microsoft App Store.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Uh, Ricardo, Micah, thank you so much for running us through this. The Q&A doc is starting to fill up. Hoping you guys can stick around for a little bit because there's a lot of great questions coming in, and I think it'll add more depth to the explanation for this tool. Does that work for you guys?
Sure thing.
Okay, folks, so we are going to pivot over to the Q&A portion of this presentation. Ricardo, please leave your share screen up, though. It'll help us probably illustrate the questions or answers a little bit. I have two questions that jumped right off. One from Sandra Hazlett. And Nicole Kinney actually asked the same question, and this is a great one. So when we're collaborating with organizations that are outside of our groups, do they also need to have Office 365 in order to collaborate with us within Teams?
They do not necessarily need to have an Office 365 account. They can still, they might have limited experience, but they can still participate in meetings. They can access files that are shared. They can pretty much have the full experience, even though they do not have an Office 365 account.
Fantastic. I hope that answered a lot of questions. James also had that question. Um, so one of the questions, or another question that came up was, what if we want to use something like Zoom for mass meetings? Can we still use uh, Teams like in the same function?
Absolutely. So Zoom is just, it's really a web meeting tool. The where Teams comes in is that Teams does have that meeting part embedded, as you could see, but Teams has a lot more to offer. So you could schedule a meeting through Teams, and you can put a Zoom link in there. It's not a problem. The main purpose of Teams is to keep your team connected, engaged, and collaborating in a daily basis from anywhere in the world.
Kind of a one-stop shop for everything. Excellent. Um, Another question came in. What is the difference between files shared in Teams versus one-on-one chat? Teams, yeah, essentially, like, is the file any different from that one that gets planted into a Teams group versus the one-on-one?
So I'll actually go ahead and take this one.
Thanks.
The difference between the Teams and the one-on-one file sharing is actually in the back end. So if you're familiar with SharePoint and the collaboration of that in the old school kind of sense, that's what the Teams backend runs on. So it's very much for the entire team to utilize as a single SharePoint. There it is, open SharePoint. Whereas the one-on-one file sharing under chats is actually the back end of that is in OneDrive. So we're all very familiar with OneDrive for keeping our files and folders and everything backed up and shared. So there you go. It's now fully accessible under the chat function.
Thanks, Micah. Well done. The next question that came in is, when you share a document in a team, but it's confidential to Ricardo, can everyone in a team see that you shared something with Ricardo only, or is that completely like off the books?
You can edit permissions even on files that you share with teams. So for example, if you share a file with your team, let's say your team is 10 people, but only 2 of them are supposed to make changes to the file, or some of them are not even supposed to see the file, you can edit those permissions into the file. As Micah said, those are things that happen on the back end with SharePoint, and all the capabilities that you had with SharePoint before, you have in Teams right now. So yes, you can change permissions as you see fit.
Fantastic. This is a great question. What about Teams makes it our go-to for communication and collaboration versus other products that are out there on the market?
I think the biggest thing here, Jason, is the integration with other Office products. it, the fact that here in Teams, I can click the plus sign and add apps and have everything from a single point is very important to us, instead of having to be looking at multiple feeds from multiple applications, right? Teams is already a part of many active Office 365 subscriptions out there. So while other tools may have, in a free tool out there, may have some limitations of how many apps you can add or how many things you can do unless you subscribe, this is already something that most of our clients and people out there with Office subscriptions pay for. So you can have a full experience and customize this to whatever your team needs. And you can do this by channel, which is a very cool thing.
That is awesome. Um, and something that I had been thinking about. But yeah, I love it. And we've used some other things in the past. This one's by far the most robust. This next question is actually a really good one, and I've been thinking about this too. What is happening with Skype? Is it only accessible through Teams now?
You want to tackle that one, Micah?
Sure. So Skype has actually been integrated, and on the left-hand side, you can probably see the calls function. So if you do need full voice over IP or Skype for Business functions, Teams has you covered. If your organization has that requirement, you can go ahead and subscribe to those features, and they become fully integrated into the single pane. That's why we like to call it a unified communication system, because now you have all your chats, communications, including phone and Skype, all under one roof.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. This one's a good one. How is Teams best used in the level cloud environment? For example, file sharing.
That's a good question. So you have your file sharing in the level cloud environment, which has your files and folders. Teams is best used when you have something specific that you need to accomplish. Even the files that you have in Teams, you can later save them into your network shares in Level Cloud if you wish to. The good thing about this is when you're using Teams, you're focusing communication on a specific channel, and the files that you're sharing within the team, they are shared on that channel only. So instead of having multiple attachments going on email, which usually we do, or sending things back and forth, you just go to a central point. So Teams can be fully used within Level Cloud. The only thing, of course, when you're using any cloud environment, sometimes video quality is not as great as you would wish to be. That's still a limitation of technology, but all other functionalities available to you.
Awesome. I hope that answered that question. It sounded very comprehensive to me. Here's a great question that came in, but it's from an anonymous attendee. I plead to you to please reach out to us as soon as this call ends. The question is, how do I actually get Teams? I am a Forum Cloud client. What are my options?
So Microsoft Teams is available with your Office 365 subscription. If you go to your Office 365 website, which is portal.office.com, and you log in with your username and password, you will see that under your apps, you will find Microsoft Teams right there available to you. It can be used as an application on your web browser, or it can be downloaded to stay in your desktop, just like I'm using here.
Fantastic. Please give us a call. We can get that set up for you. Okay, the next question is, what if someone on a project team makes a change to a shared document and doesn't click save after making the edits?
So I'll go ahead and chime in on that one. So just like working within Office 365 in the web applications, everything does save automatically. So anytime a change is put in, it will save. Likewise, if you make an oopsie, you can normally roll those back.
And that's me. I make a lot of oopsies. And thank goodness for Microsoft doing the autosave, because I forget to save all the time. Okay, here's one. I've noticed that you use both Zoom and the video options in Teams. Do you prefer one over the other? Can Teams be used for large 100 plus meetings?
Yes, as a matter of fact, Teams is right now supporting 10,000 attendees in one meeting.
That is, and I could speak to this a little bit. I have been on meetings with 200-300 people on Teams. And to answer your question, the video quality is so much better on Teams. It's something maybe having to do with the Microsoft's integration with its own tools, because I'm also using a Microsoft Surface, but I'm using that same tool when I'm on Zoom sometimes, and I notice a huge difference in the clarity of my camera. As far as functionality, I've been on large meetings with both, and they both function very similarly. The advantage with Teams, though, is it's already integrated into my suite of other tools, and so it's really easy for me to summon things during a meeting, as opposed to Zoom, where I have to log into other things and then screen share it or things of that nature. So preference for me personally goes to Teams. Okay, this looks like our last question. How do you delete threads? And also, will everyone know when you are recording the meeting?
Yes, so people will know when you're recording. It will show on the top that the meeting is recording, but deleting threads, if you mean deleting messages, messages that you created, you can delete anytime. So you can go here on your channel, delete it, or if you are a channel administrator, you can delete just the same way that you're clicking, that I'm clicking right here on my message and clicking delete. If I was a channel administrator, I would come over here and delete this whole thread.
Excellent. Okay, I'm gonna check and see if, oh, we got one more. What security options are there for Teams?
So I'll go ahead and chime in on this one as well. Security is the full Microsoft Security Suite and Compliance Center that comes with Office 365, also comes with Teams, as well as some additional settings. So depending on the needs of your organization, those settings, those permissions, and the ability to maintain compliance for data are fully available within the Microsoft Security and Compliance Center for you.
Nice. Okay, we've had a couple more come in, guys. So hang in there with me. This is going really well. The next question is, can Teams provide call features as well as video?
Yes. Go ahead, Micah. I know
I was
that
gonna
you
say,
want
I
to talk
think
about this one.
yeah, I think we did actually already hit this one. So the calls is fully integrated. If you have need, you can subscribe directly through Office 365 and Microsoft for their call features, and even port over your personal organization's numbers and have full call functionality directly within Teams.
Yes, you can use Teams as a full phone system solution. And as a matter of fact, even desk phones, there's even desk phones available from Yealink and other manufacturers that integrate with Microsoft Teams. So if somebody calls you, you can answer on your desk with your computer. You can answer on your cell phone if you have the Teams app, or if you have a desk phone that you got that's approved to work with Microsoft Teams, you can answer it on a desk phone.
Nice. Nice. This next question, we sort of answered it, but there's probably a little bit more detail to it in terms of what it entails. So it's regarding document edits. If someone makes a change to a shared document that should have not been saved, is there, instead of our famous click back button, is there an older version to revert back to? Is there a way to summon the original file without having to continue to click back on it?
Yes, there is. So you do have complete versioning of files, and you can revert to previous copies of that file if you want to. I think
Okay.
it's not something that I turned it on for this channel yet, is this that we just created, but yes, any files that are in there, if you have versioning enabled, you can go back to previous versions of that file.
Fantastic. Okay, we have one more question that popped up in the queue. What are the best resources to train users? And can we share a recorded copy of this presentation? So I can answer the part about the recorded copy, we absolutely will have this available on demand to anyone who wants it. This will also be posted on our YouTube channel for public consumption. So anyone can go to Forum Infotech's YouTube channel and find this, in addition to a ton of training materials that we have on there. Guys, is there anywhere else that, or any other resources you guys could think of to help train users on how to use this?
Yes, the Microsoft Teams webpage, which we can send alongside with this video. Microsoft always adds new functionality. They make announcements about new functionality, and they have quick videos on how to do certain things and do deep dive in certain features. But if you're already one of our clients, our team can help you with that too. Our technicians do understand a lot of the way that our clients work, and the good thing about Teams is that there isn't a right way of using Teams. Teams has a lot of features, and it's a matter of looking to your workforce, see how you can leverage Teams to collaborate and make it your own. But yeah, do contact us, and we'll be able to engage and give you some pointers and train your team and see how you can better utilize this.
Great. I have one more that just came in. Is there a time limit to having a Teams video conference?
You know what? That's a good question. I've never ran into any limitations, and I don't think that there is one.
I don't think there is either. That's the first time I've heard that. Oftentimes, other tools like the free versions of Zoom and such, you have about a 40-minute limit. That does not exist on Teams. I do not believe.
No, I would say that only if you're doing a meeting over a phone line, if you're doing a PSTN calling where you're inviting people to connect with their phones, once you sign up for PSTN calling, you do get a certain amount of minutes to use, but it's not that your call gets cut once you run over minutes. You can always get more minutes, but you would have, that's the only limitation that you would have. I think it's 5,000 minutes per account with the starter package.
Fantastic. Guys, that was great. And I think that's all of our questions. We did have one come in about deleting chats, and I believe we touched on that earlier. It's definitely a feature that you're able to do. You are able to delete chats.
Right.
Are
But you
there
can see that's very important for compliance, as you can see on my screen, where you can also restrict team members from doing this kind of thing. Because sometimes for compliance, you want to keep those chats.
Certainly. Okay, team, are there any more questions before we wrap it up? This has been a really great discussion. If there aren't any more, I'm going to bring this meeting to the close. I'd like to reiterate that this will be available to anyone on demand that would like a copy of this video for training purposes. And also, it will be posted to Forum Infotech's YouTube page. And please follow us on social as well. We put out a ton of informational training material, updates, links to blogs that we're writing, particularly around cloud hosting and and cybersecurity. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this as well. Teams is a great tool. You already have it. If you already have it, start using it. It's a great way to keep your teams together in this time of social distancing. I'd like to thank everybody again for coming on out. Ricardo, Micah, you guys have been fantastic. Please reach out to us anytime. Give us a call. We'd be more than happy to guide you through how to use Microsoft Teams. Other than that, that is it. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and stay safe, please.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure.